Hi, Satnam, it's me, Shakti Sundari, and just catching up with you with a little bit more from Desire, the Tantric Path to Awakening, reading from Daniel Odier's book and just adding some of my own commentary to it. So I've been offline from making these, which were daily posts, a couple of days, just because some really sad stuff has been going on and I've just really needed to give my time and attention to that. But been missing doing these readings as well, actually, so happy to be back. So we're on part 18 today of my reading, and today's video is called The Sound of Silence. So you may have gathered already that in this book, and actually in the way that I'm talking about the Tantric Path, and how I talked about it previously when I was reading from the ancient Tantric text, the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, a lot of it focuses upon our sensory interaction with the world and how we can achieve, experience transcendence in presence through sensorial contact with reality. So in fact, this book that I'm reading from, what Daniel Odier is doing is going through, in part, each of the senses and talking about how they are gateways to a blissful, peaceful oneness experience. And in today's chapter that I'm looking at, he's talking about the sense of hearing, sound, and vibration. So it seems like such a simple thing, but when we really explore each of the senses individually, let alone together, each of them is a gateway for us to experience our infinity. So let me just give you a few examples. So say, for example, have you ever been at a concert and felt yourself absolutely enraptured and moved physically, perhaps emotionally, to tears? Have you ever put on music and danced and been lost in the music and become one with the music? Have you ever meditated and been able to hear sounds which seemed like they must be miles away, almost as if your sense of hearing expanded as you went deeper and deeper into inner silence? Have you ever seen musicians who are deaf? You know, there are some really famous musicians out there who are deaf or hard of hearing, and yet they play the most amazing sounds and music because they can feel the vibration of what they're doing. Have you ever experienced a sound healing where the vibration and the tone of voice and musical instruments resonates within your physical and energetic body and moves energy and creates healing within you? Have you ever experienced sexual arousal as a result of listening to somebody's voice or hearing an instrument played? I know for a fact that there are some people who experience orgasm as a result of a musical instrument being played by somebody they love. So, you know, hearing opens us up to such a vast field of experience beyond what we might ordinarily think. I'm just going to read a little bit from this chapter. It's a very short chapter, and actually the bit that's most fascinating today for me in this book is kind of a meditation practice that Daniel Odier gives us. So first of all, he says, if we let ourselves be carried by the wave of our perception, we can discover further and further horizons to the limit of silence. So, you know, so often, for example, we are rushing through life and not really paying attention and putting on some kind of shield. And when we are able to go into a quiet inner meditative space, I think I put too many titters in that meditative. If we just sit and pay attention to sound and just meditate on that, we'll find that our perception of sound expands. And as we follow that expanded perception, we feel ourselves expanded into infinity ultimately. So that's a practice in itself. This is not what he's suggesting. This is just me commenting. Music enchants us and causes us to come into contact with our emotions. I've said that music permits the body to move. We hear, this is important, with our whole body. We directly perceive the vibrations of certain instruments which touch us like a caress or penetrate us more deeply. Have you ever been to, I mentioned sound bath, when I am present in a gong bath, my whole body literally shakes and trembles with ecstatic orgasmic energy. Like I can't help it. I become like a little quivering fish, and that's just through the sound of the gong. We love to listen to silence or to the infinitesimal noises that inhabit the silent universe. These tremoring sounds calm us and make us sensitive to subtlety, to the opening of our being, to the world. Again, the subtlety, the more we attune ourselves in this way, the more sensitive we become in all our sensory organs. So my senses have become so acute that a noise that would be just an ordinary sound to a lot of people is very loud to my ears. Yeah, that's just what happens. So it can be good, and it can also be sometimes a little bit challenging because there's so much noise pollution in the environment. And actually I noticed that today when I was out walking in the park, and then I came back onto the main road, and the noise was so loud in contrast to when I was in nature, so loud. It was really quite shocking to notice it. And when you think, if you're living in a city, that you're exposed to that level of noise pollution all the time, just see if you can take yourself out of it to a place where there really is quiet. And actually, when you then go into nature and listen, like really listen and open yourself to hear, there's constant buzz of noise, even in nature. So here's the guidelines from some Daniel Odier. It's like a little meditation on the sense of sound and hearing. I open my sensitivity to the arising and passing of sounds that lead me back to my own plenitude. I let my body respond to sounds, to music. I let my instrument be permanently in tune so that I can take part in the cosmic concert. I abandon myself, surrender to the sound of my own breath to someone else's. I communicate with the sound of the breath, which brings me space and peace. I listen to others with total presence. My whole body listens. And beyond language, I hear what these bodies are telling me. So that last bit there, a couple of things I want to add actually. So one is the breath. When we're really in tune with the breath, it automatically takes us to a deeper, quieter, stiller place inside, and breathing together with another and harmonizing our breath by listening to their breath, and also by watching the movement of their body, the belly expanding on the in-breath and so on, is a beautiful way to harmonize energies with another being. And then listening. Now this is a skill that is sadly lacking out there in the world, which is to really listen with full presence. You know, giving your full presence to another is one of the biggest gifts you can give. To really listen, to really receive another without filter and without thinking about what you're going to say in response, without thinking of solutions to offer, just pure, unadulterated, unfiltered receiving and hearing and feeling to hear. So you are listening with your whole physical body and your whole energy body. And that's what I do a lot when I'm with my clients. I simply listen with full presence. And when I do that, it's quite amazing. What can happen is that simply being in that field of listening with full presence, the other opens and they speak more and more truth, more and more truth, more and more truth. Emotion just comes, realization just comes, without it needing to be picked out or looked for. There's something so nurturing and encouraging and supporting and healing about being heard. So give yourself and anybody you're with today that gift of listening with pure presence and listening with the whole body. And if we all did that for one another as a gift, you know, like even if we just did it even as an exchange for 5 minutes each way, each day, I think the world would be a much healthier and happier place, and there would be so much less wounding and so much less difficulty in relationships. You know, I'm just thinking about my own children. When I give them the gift of listening, that's the biggest gift I can give them. And they know when I'm not paying attention, when I'm distracted by something. And then they don't feel loved. It's not that my kids don't feel loved, they feel very loved. But I also remember that feeling myself of not really being heard because the other was listening through their own filter rather than pure receptivity. So it's a gift, it's a skill. And meeting others in that place is just such a very beautiful thing. My phone's ringing. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching and being with me. A different mood with me today. I'm sure you can feel just a lot more mellow. A lot more mellow. But thank you so much for watching and being with me. And please, sorry, my phone's ringing and it's really annoying me. I'm trying to turn it off. Thank you so much for being with me. And if you'd like to find out about my online courses, I'll point it the wrong way, that way, Awakening Your Ecstatic Potential, Kundalini Yoga Online, go onto my website or message me below. And if you've got any comments or questions to add, I'm going to look now and interact with you in some dialogue. So thank you so much. Much love and Sat Nam.